Welcome to the point guard tier list from last year. This isn't based on last year. This is what I think everyone will be next year. No rookies, because that one hasn't been uploaded, and also I know nothing about no one. All right. So we got five tiers here. We got superstar players, we have elite players, we have good starters, bench guys ideally, but they can be an adequate starter. And then we got guys that need to be on the bench. Needs to be an injury or two for them to make the starting lineup ever. Starting off with Fred VanVleet, I think he's a good starter. He's getting paid a lot of money because there's a floor, salary floor. Um, but I think he's a good starter. He's not efficient at all, but at least he's better than the next guy. Dennis Schroeder, bench. He is. He should have taken that money. If it's true, there's some stuff about it. People say, no, that's not true. That's not true. He's not stupid, but, who knows. Next up, Terry Rozier. I think that's who that is. Bench guy, ideally. He's a good six man, score. No defense really. Javon Carter, I think, is up next. Bench guy, ideally. Gabe Vincent, I'm pretty sure. I'm a bit, yeah, bench guy, ideally. So all those Heat guys just kind of blur together for me. You know what I'm saying? Russell Westbrook, bench guy, ideally, but that's like kind of where he's been the past couple years. Jalen Brunson, I think, is a superstar. After that season, dude, he is a superstar. I don't think there's any debate to that. He took what that one reporter said personally. That one woman said personally. Woman reporter. I don't know why I'm like women. No. But yeah, he took that shit personally. And you know what? I don't blame him. He did a lot better than I think anyone expected. Next up, John Morant, superstar. He is so good. In the limited time he played this most recent year, he was so good. He just got to keep the guns away, and he's got to stay healthy. But those are two things that I think are probably gonna stick. Next up, Tyrese Halliburton. I don't think he's a superstar because superstars, are like top 10 players, maybe 10 to 15. A couple years ago, I was very staunch. It's like it's a top seven. But with a new era coming in, and there's just so much fucking talent in the league, Tyrese Halliburton to put up too many stinkers in the playoffs. Now he didn't put up only stinkers. He did have a couple, like the conference finals. He was very good in, but earlier in the playoffs he put up a couple major stinkers, and they only made the conference finals because of injury luck. So I'm gonna put him in elite for now. Um, but if the Pacers make the conference finals next year in a much improved East, he's for sure a superstar level player. Next up, we have a wife beater. I think he's a wife beater. He beats someone. He's not a good guy. I don't know who that is. Next up, Damian Lillard. He's still elite. He's not a superstar anymore. We're past that. Maybe he can become a superstar again though after another year of being with Giannis and Antetokounmpo. Maybe they can do a pick and roll finally. Who knows? Next up, we got Amin Thompson. We got one of the Thompson twins. He is a good starter. Right now. He might be a bit more bench guy ideally, but I'm projecting, he hopefully takes another step next year and gets some more shooting going. Just so fucking athletic. Both Thompson twins, just so athletic. Um, it's hard for them not to be a good starter, a positive player on the court. Next up, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I fucking hate to admit it, but he's a superstar. I'm a Timberwolves fan, Timberwolves, Thunder, a little bit of an online beef going. Um, but there's a reason why Shea is the aura man because he is just so good at basketball. Harden, he's still elite. I mean, he's not a good playoff player. All right. But during the regular season, he's going to win you games because he's just still such a good scorer. Like no one can really compete with him some nights. And he's obviously nowhere near his prime because his prime he was putting up 50 a game for 2 months. But he is still an elite offensive player. Defensively, he was never great to begin with. But next up, Luka. Speaking of bad defense, he's still a superstar just because he can score with some of the best of all time. He spends another 10 years in the NBA. He's going to be a top 20 offensive player of all time, no doubt, no question about it. It's just, kind of getting those accolades and, yeah, just like sticking around for longer and proving. I know he's already proved that he's an elite offensive guy, but proving that he can be a top 20 all time guy. Next up, DeJounte Murray, good starter. Um, Last time I did these videos, I was like, ooh, he and Trae Young are going to be so good together. It didn't really work out. They both got to have the ball in their hands. But DeJounte, he's just good. And I think him on the Pelicans will be able to, get him up to like a tier in between elite and good. But right now, he's just good. And a bad year in New Orleans, he could be falling down maybe. Next up, we got LaMelo. He's elite when he's on the court. If he stayed healthy all the time, he might be flirting with superstar. But it's just he's been playing basketball for too long, man. He's got the body of Kawhi Leonard 10 years before Kawhi. Like wearing those janky ass shoes his entire life, bro. It sucks because he is legitimately good, and it sucks that both him and Lonzo are just like their careers are not looking great due to injury. Lonzo obviously much more severe. Um, God, I hope Lonzo Ball comes back at some point because he was becoming one of like my favorite players in the league because he was genuinely improving so much, especially shooting. And he played elite defense, and he played for the Chicago Bulls, a local team, not in the Timberwolves, division or conference. Man, I got a lot of love for the Bulls. It's gonna suck when the Timberwolves go to the East. Next up, Trae Young. God, this is tough. I I want to put him in superstar still, but I'm gonna put him in elite. Yeah, I'm gonna put him in elite. Oh fuck, dude. Trey he's polarizing for sure. He is polarizing. It's just his defense is bad. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna put him in elite. I don't feel good about it. Um, Next up, Curry. I think Curry's still a superstar. Crazy. There's five players in superstar. But yeah, I think Curry is a superstar. Still, just because you don't really regress with shooting, Like Ray Allen had a job when he hit that fucking shot in the finals because he's, 37 years old, but he's a shooter, And like Steph is such a good shooter, and that just doesn't really go away with age, It might go away if, you lose some muscle, but, ooh, Snapchat notification. Uh, it, fuck. It might go away if you lose some muscle, but he's not like a super muscular man, so. Tyrese Maxey, fuck it, he's an elite player. Him and Trae Young in the same tier is weird to look at. Um, but like Tyrese Maxey, probably going to be the most valuable player to the 76ers over the next 4 years, just because he's going to play, projecting wise, he's going to play a whole lot more than Embiid. Embiid's just going to be a guy that misses 30 games a year, and you just got to hope that he plays the playoffs. And Tyrese Maxey's going to have to ride the ship. Him and Paul George going to ride the ship at least for this year and the next year. Um, I think he's a really good player. I don't think he should have won Most Improved Player, just because he went from a good player to an elite player. He went up a tier when Kobe White went from like bench guy ideally to like flirting with the elite. Mike Conley, good starter. Definition of a good starter. So glad we got Rob Dillingham in the draft. We traded up. That's fucking great. We traded a first round pick in forever for him, which it's gonna suck. 2035, not gonna be a good year for the Timberwolves, I don't think. I mean, actually, 2032 is not gonna be a good year because we won't have any picks, and our team's gonna be devoid of talent. Hopefully, Anthony Edwards is still there. He's like 32. He probably won't be. Next up, we got CP3. At this point, bench guy ideally, but he's not gonna be a bench guy in San Antonio. I like that, you know, um, and like a bench guy ideally. So if your team doesn't really have a point guard, you need a veteran presence. Chris Paul fills that perfectly. If Russell Westbrook was on a team that needed a veteran presence, and they didn't have a good point guard, he would be a fine starter. Next up, Kyle Lowry, bench. Brogdon, bench guy ideally. I mean, that's just kind of his whole game, is just being a bench guy. Derek White, oh, elite. elite. I mean, there's a reason why he is on Team USA over Jaylen Brown because he's a role player. He knows his role, but he does that role so well. He might be one of the greatest role players of all time. Um, can hit down the shot, can play insanely good defense. Um, we go into next year, and the Celtics have a really good defensive team. I feel like if they gave Robert Williams the DPOY instead of Marcus Smart, Derek White would legitimately be one of the top DPOY vote getters. Dinwiddie, bench. D'Angelo Russell, I want to say bench guy ideally because he's so hit or miss. But when he's hitting, when he's on fire, he's a legitimately elite player. But when he goes on his fucking awful stretches, he needs to be on the bench. He needs to be getting 12 minutes a night. So I'm gonna put him in good start, just because he can turn it on and he does. Marcus Smart, good starter. You know, there's not a lot of guys. I mean, there is a lot of guys, but if the Timberwolves had Marcus Smart, he would probably start over Mike Conley. You know, just because of his defense. And oh my god, that would be such a good lineup. Holy shit, dude. Especially if Ant can like consistently play really good defense, dude. That's a good lineup. Kyrie, elite. He kind of lost some aura though. He's lost some points in the playoffs. I mean, he turned it up for a couple games to fucking beat the Timberwolves. Fuck you, Kyrie. Next up, Sexton. I feel like he's like a 6 man of the year guy. You know, if he's your 6 man, you're feeling good. If he's your starting point guard, Next up, Markelle Fultz, bench guy ideally. You know, if he's your starter, same thing. Tyus Jones, same exact thing. Man, we're going role player stuff right now. Cade, good starter. I don't. I don't think he's as good as Kyrie or Derek White or Harden or Tyrese Halliburton. He's definitely on the higher end of the good starter tier, and I feel like, you know, another if he had any fucking shooters around him. Although they did get one shooter, I forget who, and they also have Tobias here, so he could become elite this next season, especially because he's going into year 4. I think he could definitely become an elite player next year. I think he's still got superstar potential. You know, I mean, missing a whole year due to injury is not cool, but he's got superstar potential. Still, oh, man, fuck. If he was like, if he was in Indianapolis instead of Tyrese Halliburton, I'm not sure. You know, and for the same amount of time, I'm not sure if I want to have Tyrese and Cade Cunningham switched. You know, if Tyrese got traded to the Pistons, and or like yeah, you know what I mean. If Tyrese Halliburton and Cade Cunningham, if they switch places their whole career, I'm not sure if they'd be switched or not. You know what I'm saying? This is a Jones brother bench. Marcus Morris bench. Cole Anthony bench guy ideally. The Magic just have like so many guards and are like, yeah, he'd be cool for the bench. And it's like, okay, bench guy ideally. Fuck, is that Nimhart? I just don't think he's a good starter yet. He's gonna have to prove a bit more. You know what I'm saying? De'Aaron Fox, he's elite. He is elite. I will say, De'Aaron Fox is an elite player. Drew Holiday, at this point of his career, he's just a good starter. Um, Drew Holiday in Boston now? Yeah, he's in Boston now. Oh fuck, dude. It's because he's got the Bucks jerseys on, guys. I swear I'm not a casual. But you know he's Derek White. I feel like is better than him at this point. Drew Holiday he's a really good fourth option. Jamal Murray, good star. Like his playoffs were kind of carrying his reputation, and I admit, you know, hey, I was on board with that. But he kind of had a stinker against the Timberwolves. So, and then Darius Garland, good star. God, that's weird. All right, let me know if you like the video. Like, comment, subscribe. Comment down below what you would change, because this is all vibe based. This is all a fluid conversation. Kenny Peachum, king of the fourth quarter. All a fluid conversation. So let me know what you think. Bring up some advanced stats. Bring up some normal stats. I don't care. Um, we're gonna go to Baseball Savant here. We're gonna hit. Can you hit a random player? No. Okay. Let's see. Let's go to the Cubs game. Did the Cubs win? Oh my God, they did 8-0. Ooh wee, zooey mama. Let's look at Christopher. Let's look at Seiya Suzuki. Seiya Suzuki. All right. Ooh, look at. Oh my god. Oh my god. Strikes out a lot. Doesn't really walk enough to compensate for it. Whiffs, but he doesn't chase. He knows how to hit the ball hard. Expected batting average is a 250, but expecting slug is a 457. That's pretty damn good. He has an OPS of 808 this year. That is insane. That is insanely good. We compare him to last year's Seiya Suzuki. Okay, well, he was actually a little better last year. We compare to 2022 Seiya Suzuki when he first came in. He's just never been a guy that chases. He's a guy that strikes out, but he doesn't chase because he whiffs, I guess. What's his bat speed looking like? Does that tell us? He swings the bat 73 miles an hour on the real swings. Kind of a, look at the spray chart. All right, that's the video. I just kind of wanted to get the video over 15 minutes.